from Retro Racing Lunatics. Thanks to everyone joining in our various Facebook groups, Facebook pages, our websites, YouTube, and the like. This community is continually growing, and please contribute. Don't lurk, get amongst it. It's been really great to have everyone involved, especially with the competition on light guns and racing. Rod and I personally have found it very, very rewarding. Bit of hard work, but we've learned a lot. We'll soon put out a poll with regards to what season 2 might look and feel like. So welcome any suggestions to get as many people involved in season 2 competition. Digital Arcade is our brotherhood with Ian and George. They run their regular weekly main hookup, so we will see more and more of that in Arcade Lunatics from a competition standpoint, so please get amongst it. Anyway, this is on my almost completed racing cabinet that I've converted over to a PC. Thanks to Vito with a suggestion about utilizing a different type of camera to do demonstrations and recordings, and I'm using OBS. Learning, got my oil plates well and truly on, and he had mentioned that he used a phone to do some of his recordings, and then I've done a Dr. Google search and realized that I could use one of my old Android phones essentially as a web camera straight into the OBS using a plugin that OBS allows for it to communicate with. So hopefully this is going to come across a lot better than what my little Logitech webcam could do, and hopefully a lot more stable in regards to movement, colors, and noise. So I'm still learning. This is a great test for me, and thanks for your patience. What I want to talk about today is the Stream Dock and the use of the Stream Dock, and I've got Cruising Blast up on the screen for obvious reasons, and you can actually see why we would want to use a key pin, create a pin number to save, etc., etc. There's a bunch of other games and more games coming out where it's got keypads for a whole range of secret codes, reasons, and to store results and the like. So originally I had a $5, or probably maybe $10 Wi-Fi keypad that did this, but now inspired by Arcade Adam and others who I think use the Elgato Stream Deck. Some people suggested to me, hey, why don't you get the Stream Dock from AliExpress? Now, you'll see that's on the screen there, and I'll show you a couple of features about that shortly. Other than the fact that it is like a fraction of the price. So in Australia, electronics is not cheap to get anywhere, especially with all these tariffs and the like. However, in Australian dollars, the Stream Dock, which is a knockoff of the Elgato, is like $70 shipped to my door here in Australia, right? So like that's peanuts when it comes to pounds sterling and US dollars. And to get the Elgato in Australia, well, depending on any time of the day, it could be $250 plus, and I certainly wasn't going to pay anything like that when I was thinking about how can I add some buttons to my racing cabinet without using a keyboard, and limit the number of buttons. Now I've got buttons all over this cabinet, but I also want to have some functionality to do tutorials, wanted a keypad, wanted multimedia players, temp sensors, a whole range of things, just because I'm just a totally geeky bogan. And someone suggested the Stream Dock. But first things first, I've got Cruising Blast playing around in the background. I'm just going to start it and just see what I'm going to use it to do is record a pin number. So I'm going to enter just a random pin and then put a random name. And then it's recorded it. And then it'll say that I'm now registered. You can see it's got my name and I'm up and running. Fast and the Furious have got a pin codes and the like, and there are some other games out there as well. But I wanted to give just basically a demonstration on how to set the game up. That's me not holding on to the wheel because the force feedback is I've got it set quite high on this. But anyway, so look, that's it on Cruising Blast. I'm now just going to exit out of this using the stream dock. So I've got a game over button. I've got an exit button on my cabinet too, but I'm just showing you the versatility of this as well. I'm just going to exit out of there, and then you'll see that I'm back to Techno Parrot. And then I'm just going to pause there, and then I'm going to call up the Elgato knockoff keypad. Okay, the second part of the video is just really just going through the Elgato knockoff, which is the Stream Dock from in AliExpress, or I guess you can get it on Alibaba, maybe on Amazon and the like. But I get a lot of my arcade odds and ends from AliExpress, mainly because it's from an Australian standpoint, it's really cheap rather than getting anything from the US historically and especially now. But yeah, I'll put a link in the description to the one that I got. It comes in different flavors, different colors, different branding. This one is the Mirror Box, but there are different names. They all come from Mirror Box of the same manufacturer, in slightly different prices. And like I said, I got this one for $70 Australian delivered, which really is, in the scheme of things, really cheap if I'm going to compare that to, say, a numerical keypad. And this thing has so many different options to it. It's not funny. I'll put a link in the video to some other more, I guess, explanatory videos and unboxings, but I didn't want to spend 25 minutes showing you how to take it out of the box and you know, the plastic and the dimensions. But needless to say, it is solid. It's connected with a USB-C, USB-A connector into my PC. So I've drilled a small little hole into the cabinet to feed the wire in, which is a shame that it's not Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. That would make it insane. But then again, you'd have to recharge it every so often. And some of the options and sensors that this thing actually has is quite amazing when I sort of roll through the things like computer system analysis that it has, like on hard drives, temp sensors, CPU usage, and the like, just for those who really like getting geeked into it. I've still got lessons to learn. Like, I've got like a 9-key keypad. I'm probably going to expand that to a 10 keypad because some games need zeros and pluses and minuses. But for now, as I'm learning the ropes, I wanted to quickly do a demonstration on how this actually works. Now, I don't have an Elgato, but there are a lot of videos showing that really even the software is very similar to the Elgato. And once you sort of get your head wrapped around it and install the software, mind you, a lot of it is in Chinese, but once you've installed it, everything is pretty much in English. It's really quite straightforward to use. So I'm just going to quick show you. There's the box there. On the screen, you'll actually see the user interface. To actually use it, it's really quite straightforward. You can add these things called scenes down the left-hand side, and then you can also go into the little app store. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I've gone and done, just as a quick and dirty demonstration. Another function that you will want to have a look at too is, I was saying earlier, that there's icons and different plugins and the like. So I'm just going to quickly just go into the store. So it's got its own little marketplace. Now, oddly enough, it looks like the Elgato one as well, but it's not as polished. However, in saying that, it does have a lot of options as well. So I'm just going to quickly open that up for you. You need to register as well. It has different options for different gadgets that they actually have. In this case, rather than using the M panels or the ML keyboards or any of those kinds of things, I'm actually just going to go into the Stream Dock. You can see all the different options they've got. They've got ones with dials and all sorts of things. So there's got a whole bunch of these options on AliExpress. So I was actually tossing up on a few different ones that they've got there, but the one I chose, one was really cheap, did everything that I needed it to do. It was in a nice form factor that sat on my cabinet, as you can see there, just nice and neatly. But yeah, you can see there's a whole range of different ones, like this keypad version over here with a dial. This one here's got some buttons with a whole pile of dials and buttons. There's the whole range of options there. Anyway, so you can then just do a whole range of different plugins. The website is probably maybe a 3 out of 5 in regards to responsiveness. But essentially, once you go in there, you'll see ones that are for free because they're all marked as free. And then you just simply click and add them to your actual device. So here's icons. And it'll come up like that. Yep, different icons. All sorts of icons. There's certainly no shortage of free stuff, which is amazing. So $70, and then doesn't cost you to register on here. You don't have to provide any credit card details or anything like that. You probably would need to if you want to buy some stuff from them, but I haven't had the need to do that. These are the different scenes that you can set. So you notice that earlier in the video I've got 3 different scenes, but I could add a whole bunch of scenes. Like for instance, I've got the popular websites one, which I've then gone and just made modifications to. There's ones around Windows control, information boards. Like there's just a whole Jedi summer, like there's games and all sorts of things on there too. Yeah, there's just a truckload of information. Excel, Adobe Illustrator, Premiere, PowerPoint. It just goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, so I will get geeked out on this, no doubt. So yeah, so that is their little store. This is the numerical keypad ones, but that's not the version that I've got. You can see that's the one if you just want to have a keypad version of it, which is really cool. And I've thought about getting this one, but then I really like the other one because it's got the additional sensors down the right hand side that you can see on the panel there. So in this case, I'm using Windows controller, and then I've gone and created these numbers. Now I've gone and downloaded a whole bunch of icon sets, which are all free. Generally, there are ones that you can buy there, but there's just truckloads of ones that you can just download and manipulate and change as you see fit. And realistically, all I really need to do is if I want to create these numbers, you're assigning keys. So here, number 1, you'll see down the bottom here is numpad number 1. So I can click on here and then assign any number or key that I want to, and then it essentially replicates the keypad, whether it's a click or a long press, depending on your particular needs. You can put titles in there if you like, but I take all the titles out, so it just keeps the numbers, all the icons and the graphics nice and neat. And then these are all assigned essentially to keys. So obviously 1 to 9 are keys. Game over, I've assigned that to the escape key, which most emulators will use to get out of that. And I've just found a really cool icon for that. Numpad star and left shift L3 is the hash. And then you've got your volume up, volume down, and then to the next scene. On the right hand side, you've got these aren't buttons, these are like little additional windows that you can add things to. In this case, I've gone and just added the time and the date and the temperature that's in Tuggeranong here this evening, which is 8 degrees Celsius and dropping, so it'll get really, really cold really quick because we're right in the thick of autumn, heading into winter just around the corner. You can add multiple scenes on the left hand side here. I'm using the favorite, and then you can actually see on the screen here when I'm flipping through between the two, that's on my main screen on the UI and the mirror box. There's a whole bunch of icons that I've gone and created along with commands that sit behind them. So you can essentially apply anything and everything to this thing. It's really quite versatile in what you can actually do with it. In this case, I've got a whole bunch of web pages and also my Launchbox and Bitbox icons. So for instance, if I wanted to go into the Retro Racing Lunatics page, I could just press on this little button up the top here, and it'll just open up the website for me, assuming my internet connection is working. Great, and it's gone straight into Retro Lunatics. If I wanted to go into a different website, say Light Gun Lunatics, it'll go into Light Gun Lunatics and the like. And then, yeah, I'm just literally going through one by one and making sure that I've gone and changed the addresses to the various icons there as well. So I've got one there to open and launch into Discord. I've got one that opens up an app to my AnyDesk to help people work through any issues. My Mega. I can click on YouTube and open up YouTube, which is to my personal account there at the moment, and the like. And of course, I can go into Facebook, and that'll open up Facebook as well. And of course, if I wanted to launch into Launchbox or Big Box, I can do that as well. But I won't do that because it'll take a little bit of time to load up and do all sorts of things. I've got another button here assigned here that goes on to the next scene. And here I'm slowly adding some additional icons on things that I use quite regularly on my racing cab while I'm sitting there mucking around and doing configuration. In this case, any sort of audio media kind of things that I'm actually doing. So for instance, if I wanted to click on Spotify, I'll open up my Spotify account and it'll bring up my bits and pieces that I want. So if I I'll just do, I don't know, soft rock. And then if I wanted to press pause, I could use the pause on here and control. And just like any other multimedia device, I can control that as well, whether it's YouTube, Plex, Netflix, whatever I want to add to VLC media player, and the like. I can go and then scroll back to the scene there. So yeah, so look, that's just really the basics of it. You can see down on the right hand side, these are the various icons that I'm picking up. Like I was saying earlier, you got the time, date, and temperature. But I could just essentially do my internet speeds, what's left on my C drive, what's left on my R drive, and then I could go and add some more on the right hand side. So I'm slowly going through learning how to use it. Once you've sort of added a few icons and realize you're pointing things to specific applications, or it's calling on various APIs to try and do various things on the computer, you'll sort of get the hang of it pretty much straight away on how to set that up. But anyway, yeah, sorry for the length of the video. Hopefully that's been useful for people that have been thinking, oh, geez, I've seen that on various arcade machines and cabinets and setups. I wonder what that actually looks like, and in my personal particular feelings on it. I think it's great for my racing cabinet because that way I don't have to sit there and mucking around with a keyboard all the time. And there's speed buttons and all sorts of things that I can do with that. And for $70 Australian delivered, I reckon it's an absolute bargain from a Geeky Bogan perspective. So yeah, on the Geeky Bogan ratings out of 5, I would give this a solid 4.5 out of 5. And yeah, look, just shoot me any questions if you have one. How do you use it? What icons do you use? What shortcuts do you use? I certainly would love to hear your experiences on that, and any lessons learned. So yeah, anyway, I'll sign out for now and enjoy the rest of your weekend.